Another beautiful day in Colorado. We are in lower downtown Denver. D-backs trying to keep Colorado lower in the standings. D-backs and Rockies here at Coors Field in a dead heat in the NL West right now. Both teams at 62 and 91. And if nice guys really do finish last, it's time to get a little nasty after last night's crusher. It's the D-backs and the Rockies here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Coors Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs and the Rockies, second of a four-game set here from Coors Field. Chase Anderson gets the ball here tonight. And, Bob, it looked like a few starts ago he might have to shut Chase Anderson down for the year, but he has found his second wind.
Yeah, you know, they've watched his mechanics very closely. That's usually the first indicator that a guy maybe is showing some signs of fatigue. They were content that his mechanics are very good. We know he competes every time he goes out to the mound, but he's taken it to a completely different level. His last three starts, he has been outstanding. A 2-0 record, ERA just over 2.5, a whip under 1. He struck out 17 batters in his last three starts.
But this is where the concern is with Chase Anderson. He will begin tonight having already pitched 60 more innings than he did last season.
That's a considerable jump for a guy. Now, he did throw more innings back in the 2012 season, 2011 season, but it's a big change from one season to the next. As I said, they watched his mechanics. They're content that he's okay. He's not showing signs of fatigue.
And Chase tonight in what will be his final start, we are told this year, a chance to finish the season with double-digit wins. He's up against Jordan Lyles, the former Astro, now Rocky. We saw him earlier this year when he broke his finger covering a play at home plate.
Yeah, how about that? It was a very odd-looking play, but at the time, Lyles stayed in the ballgame, went out to pitch. We noticed when the catcher started to lob the ball back to the mound and Lyles catching it very gingerly that there was obviously something wrong. He ended up spending 2 months on the disabled list, won his first game back from the DL, hasn't won since.
A fractured finger on his non-pitching hand. That play actually happened in the first inning. He didn't come out of the game until the fourth. So it's Anderson and Lyles, the D-backs and the Rockies. When we come back, we'll discuss A.J. Pollock, who is back in the swing of things. D-backs baseball coming up next here on Fox Sports Arizona. Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink.
Back here in Denver, getting you set for first pitch. Diamondbacks reloading their offense in this game as Mark Trumbo's back in the lineup. He's homered in 4 straight games here at Coors Field. And David Peralta, who's missed a number of games recently with a bad back, but he's available off the bench to pinch hit. Jody Jackson with you. One consistent source of offense since he's been back from the DL is A.J. Pollock. He is in the lineup tonight, and since coming off the DL on September 2nd, you see the numbers there for A.J. 14 games. He's hit safely in 13 of those, and he's batting .365 in his last 20 games as you go back to May 26th. So A.J. getting it done last night, a hit, a run scored, as the Diamondbacks look to win Game 2 against Jordan Lyles and the Rockies here at Coors Field. When we come back, first pitch coming your way, the rookie Chase Anderson. Yes, it is his last dance, his last start for the season as Arizona Diamondback, and looking to finish on a high note. Steve Berthium and Bob Brenly have the call of the game next.
Starting pitcher for the Colorado Rockies, Jordan Lyles, 23-year-old right-hander, his first season in Colorado after coming over from Houston in the deal that sent Dexter Fowler to the Astros. His pitching coach for the Rockies is Jim Ray.
He's got great movement, a good sinker, and a good changeup that he's developing. His changeup has improved a lot, and a cut fastball and a curveball. So he's got 4 pitches, but 2 that he uses predominantly, and now he's mixing in a third with his changeup. But when he throws strikes with the movement that he has, he's very successful.
Ball 1 to Ender Inciarte. We are underway. Jordan Lyles, his 21st start for the Rockies this year. And considering it's his first year at Coors Field, he's done pretty well. It's the first time in his 4-year big league career that Lyles has given up fewer hits than innings pitched in a season.
His record stands at 4-1 here at Coors Field. The ERA is just over 5 as opposed to a 2-2 record with an ERA of 3.5 on the road.
This is the issue with Jordan Lyles. The command escapes him from time to time, and he has difficulty throwing strikes. He's behind on Inciarte, 3-0, and there's a strike. You'll always be able to tell. Adrian Johnson is our plate umpire tonight, and he is one of the more emphatic strike callers we have. A personal favorite. He leaves you no gray area. Inciarte does what he does, slaps the ball the other way for a leadoff single to open the ball game. Ender Inciarte, he's now got an 8-game hitting streak.
Well, we've talked about it many times already. The ability to bunt and get down that first baseline forces the third baseman to play a little more shallow than he normally would, and that opens up some holes on either the right or the left, or in this case right over the head.
Well, he is hitting .294 since the All-Star break, and he just keeps getting better. Chris Owings now. Oh, Inciarte leaning towards second base that time, just did get back as Lyles throws over there. Now an 8-game streak for Ender. He's got 12 hits during the 8-game run.
Just kind of a courtesy toss that time from Lyles to first base. Had he snapped a throw over there, it would have been much closer. Now he snaps a throw.
I don't like that. Ender was happy feeting his way down there and looked like he might have been off on that first pitch. And Owings will take a long look down to Glenn Sherlock at third. 16 for 19 in his stolen base attempts this year. CO 0 for 3 last night. That snapped a 5-game hit streak. There's a strike 0-1. Chris Owings, .265 and 6 homers. Hitless last night. Did draw a walk and scored a run. In fact, Owings has now scored a run in 6 of his last 7 games. Inciarte holds, and Owings fouls one straight back to the screen. He's down 0-2.
I like that swing by Chris Owings. You got a guy on the mound that relies on sinkers and change-ups and breaking balls down in the zone. If you see something up, take a good rip at it. CO gets a fastball up there above the belt, took a good swing, fouled it straight back. You know, we talk all the time, when you face a sinker ball pitcher, make him get the ball up. Well, as a hitter, you can't make him get the ball up, but what that means is if he does leave one up in the zone, be ready to swing at it.
CO knocks that one foul behind the Rockies dugout. Lyles has never beaten the Diamondbacks. 0-2 in 5 career starts against Arizona. The ERA nears 7.5. Much of that's coming during his time with the Houston Astros. And he will from time to time lose command and location with that sinking 2-seam fastball, which does have good movement on it. Sometimes a little too much. Owings lifts that one in the seats again. So the fastball will sail on him now and again. The walks can be a problem for Lyles. But he has shown this year, as Jim Wright mentioned, that he can adjust when that pitch is not there for him. And that's something we go through all the time with Trevor Cahill. And when that's happening, Lyles will rely more on his slider and his changeup when the fastball location isn't there. Inciarte holds again, and Owings looks at strike 3, 1 down.
Chris Owings with a look back there. Willeen Rosario way on the outside corner. Why he catches this ball as he's tumbling off the plate away, but reaches back with the glove. The pitch was right down the middle of the plate, but it just looked funny the way Rosario caught it.
Kind of anti-pitch framing.
Yeah.
And he's doing that thing again, Bob, you talked about last night. Willeen Rosario behind the plate as A.J. Pollock steps in. And these long looks into the dugout toward Tom Runnels, the bench coach, as Pollock swings through that one 0-1.
I mean, there's a certain rhythm to giving the signs to your catcher. Obviously, you want to wait until the offensive team goes through their signs, but we've seen this so many times when we play the Rockies. Rosario just sitting there looking to his right, waiting for a sign from his own bench. And I really think it affects the rhythm of his pitchers.
It takes a long time to get the sign in from the bench. Yes, he went. Pollock quickly down 0-2. AJ 311 and 7 home runs. He singled and scored a run last night. He's now hit in 4 straight. 7 straight strikes thrown by Jordan Lyles, so he fell behind quickly 3-0 on Inciarte. And ever since then, he has found that command. Here's the batting order for Kirk Gibson's Arizona Diamondbacks, our Tire Pros starting lineup.
Ender Inciarte started tonight with a base hit into left field. Chris Owings struck out looking. A.J. Pollock doing battle right now. Miguel Montero doing the catching and cleaning up. Mark Trumbo back in the lineup. Great career numbers against Jordan Lyles. Jake Lamb at third base. Cody Ross out in right field. Didi Gregorius at shortstop, and right-hander Chase Anderson making his final start of the year.
Good to have Mark Trumbo and Jake Lamb back in the lineup. And Pollock drops that one in front of Corey Dickerson in left for a 1-out single. Diamondbacks have first and second now with 1 out. So AJ's hit in 5 in a row.
Right off the end of the bat, got fooled a little bit by the speed on that breaking ball, but Lyles left it up in the zone. AJ was able to flip it into left field for his first hit of the game.
And a chance here for a guy who has been a run producer for the D-backs in this ballpark. It's the catcher Miguel Montero in the cleanup spot tonight. Miggy 242, 13 home runs. He's got 71 runs batted in. 0 for 3 last night. He was walked once intentionally. Lifts that in the air, very short left field, and that one drops in. Everybody had to hold up. And now the bases are loaded with 1 out. It dropped in no man's land, and there it goes again. Bob, you talked about that. All that room in that outfield. It's not so much in the gaps and down the lines. Oftentimes it's in front of those outfielders.
Yeah, just how deep the outfielders have to play because the ball carries so well in this park. And then when you miss hit one, very tough to recover and get back to the infield. We mentioned it last night. The infielders have to go a lot farther out into the outfield grass to try to catch pop-ups than they normally would. And that time, Josh Rutledge just a little bit short.
So they're loaded for Mark Trumbo back in the lineup after a day off yesterday. And how about Trumbo not only against Jordan Lyles, 4 for 9, 3 homers, but in this ballpark. He last played at Coors Field when we were here in April for a 3-game series, and Trumbo homered in every game. He went 4 for 10, 3 homers and 5 RBIs in that 3-game set. A ball and a strike. Five homers in this ballpark in his career and 22 at-bats. Coming off that difficult day Wednesday, the loss to the Giants, he was 0 for 4 strikeouts, did not deliver a base hit in some key spots, and he's right back in the hot seat here in the first inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. 1 and 2 now. We found out after the ball game that Mark had been playing through some back pain. Kirk Gibson said afterwards, just a spasm, nothing more, but he wasn't quite himself. Got the day off yesterday and is back in there tonight. Bases loaded, 1 out, a ball and 2 strikes to Mark Trumbo. There's a bouncer to short. Rutledge. Can they roll the double play? Trumbo beats it out and Inciarte scores. It's a 1-0 D-backs lead.
The first prerequisite for a double play is usually a hard hit grounder. That was a little bouncer just to the left of the mound by the time Rutledge shoveled onto LeMahieu. Mark Trumbo hustling down that first baseline, able to reach on the fielder's choice and drive home Ender Inciarte with the first run for the D-backs.
Montero a race, Pollock at third, Trumbo at first. A run in, 2 down now for the rookie Jake Lamb. He looks at ball 1. Jake 222 and 3 homers. Limited to pinch hit duty lately as he recovers from a minor quad injury. Popped out to the catcher in a pinch hit appearance last night. Struck out as a pinch hitter Tuesday against the Giants. That snapped a 5-game hit streak. He's ahead 2-0. But even while limited to pinch hit duty lately, Jake has 8 hits in his last 9 games, including 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run. Already 22 pitches for Jordan Lyles in the first. He's been throwing strikes. He's got 16 strikes. A single by Inciarte, struck out Owings. Pollock and Montero single. Trumbo drove in a run. Now they're in the corners with 2 outs. There's a bouncer to DJ LeMahieu at second. And Lyles gets out of it, but the Diamondbacks get a run. They lead the Rockies 1-0. Mistake to a 1-0 lead. He is your Arizona Ford starting pitcher. His final start of the year, the 26-year-old right-hander, and a chance to end his rookie year with double-digit wins. Yesterday, we talked to his pitching coach, Mike Harkey, about expectations for tonight.
Last thing I want him to do is know or think out there that this is my last start. I either get through it or I just have to be better than before so I can leave the season with a good feeling. I mean, regardless of what happens tomorrow, he's done everything we've asked him to do. We just ask that he continues it out for his last one.
Well, he's been rolling lately, not only in his last 3 starts, but against the Rockies all year long. 9-6, a chance to win his 10th here tonight.
Coming off a victory against the San Diego Padres when his offense finally figured out Tyson Ross. That was a 10-4 Diamondbacks victory over the Padres.
Charlie Blackmon back in center field and back in the leadoff spot. Fouls that one back, and it's 0-1. Chase Anderson, it's all about the innings, as we talked about at the top of the show. A win against the Padres his last time out. He's ahead of Blackmon, 0-2. Charlie Blackmon hit by a pitch as a pinch hitter last night. Had a big 5-for-5 day in the Rockies win over the Dodgers Wednesday here at Coors. Homered, drove in 2 runs, scored 4 times. But he pops that one up third base side. Easy play for Jake Lamb. 1 away. The batting order for Walt Weiss's Colorado Rockies, your Tire Pro starting lineup.
Top 3 will be Charlie Blackmon, Josh Rutledge, Justin Morneau. The middle 3, Michael Kadire, Corey Dickerson, Willeen Rosario with a titanic walk-off home run to end that ball game last night. Rafael Ynoa, DJ LeMahieu, and Jordan Lyles make up the bottom of the order.
Josh Rutledge, the shortstop, with Troy Tulowitzki out. Tulo has not played in a game since July 19th. More hip problems for Tulowitzki, so Rutledge has essentially been the everyday guy down there. He's at .267 on the year. Mentioned this yesterday. Once again, the Rockies have just been bludgeoned with injuries. Tulo, the hip problem. Carlos Gonzalez has got a knee. They're both done for the year. They think Nolan Arenado is done. He's got pneumonia. It's been a rough ride here for Walt Weiss. As Anderson strikes out Rutledge, 2 down.
There's an outside chance that Arenado could possibly return before the end of the season, but there really doesn't seem to be much upside for rushing him back onto the field at this point.
Justin Morneau, 0 for 5, couple of strikeouts last night. That cost Morneau 3 points in batting average, so he dropped from 320 down to 317. So he's now second in the race for the batting title. First pitch is a quick ground ball out to Didi Gregorius. And Chase Anderson rolls through an easy first. He leads it 1-0. Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Phoenix International Raceway. Don't miss the NASCAR semifinals on November 9th. Get tickets for the Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500 at phoenixraceway.com. And by Panda Express, introducing Panda Express online ordering. Red Rock, Bob Brennan will be there to check out some Tom Petty soon as the season ends.
Yes, indeed.
What a facility that is, huh?
That's a cathedral of music right there.
Cody Ross. Somebody's there tonight. Somebody good, right?
Tomorrow night's Grace Potter and the Nocturnals along with Trombone Shorty. I'm not sure who's playing out there tonight.
Trombone Shorty.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Big swing and a miss there by Cody Ross to open up the second against Jordan Lyles. Cody a single and an RBI sac fly last night. He has hit over 290 since his return from the calf strain that put him on the DL. Missed part of July and all of August. 2-1. Tell you what, Chase Anderson was not messing around in that home half of the first. 7 pitches, 3 outs, 7 strikes. And you've got Lyles here laboring. Cody hits a high fly ball to left field. Corey Dickerson is underneath. And that's out number 1 in the second. Here's Didi Gregorius. Back at shortstop tonight. Didi 204 and 6 homers on the year. He was hitless in the Giants series. So Nick Ahmed get the start last night. Cliff Pennington in the series finale against the Giants, so Didi's had a couple of days off here. There's a strike, 0-1. He is 3 for his last 18 at the plate, and the bat has slowed down here down the stretch. Good numbers here at Coors Field.
How many times do you think that's been said about players coming here? Visiting players.
Does anyone ever have bad numbers here? Not sure. That'd be a great stat to look up. Who's the worst hitter here all time? Pick a minimum, whatever. 100 plate appearances. That'd be a tough one to wear walking around. See that guy? That guy was the worst hitter ever in the history of that ballpark.
The worst hitter ever in the best hitter's ballpark in the history of baseball.
We're going to see if we can look that up. A non-pitcher. Pat, a member of our crack staff here, is going to get on that. A non-pitcher, Pat, minimum 100 plate appearances at Coors Field. The worst hitter here of all time. We've already got a project here. 1-2 to Didi.
I feel pretty good about this one because I never played in this ballpark.
Yeah.
So
You were. Wait, don't tell me you were actually worried there.
I'm exempt.
Come on now. Adrian Johnson grants time as Lyles takes a little bit too long. He has not won a game, Jordan Lyles, since August 6th. And that was his first start back after that stint on the 60-day DL with a broken left finger suffered against the D-backs here at Coors Field in early June. An injury, as we showed you earlier, suffered when he tried to make a tag play at home, covering the plate. That happened in the first inning, pitched until the fourth with a broken finger on his glove hand. And once he did come out, he was out for 2 months. And since he's been back from the injury, he's made 8 starts, 1 win, an ERA about 5.25. Didi bounces this one up the middle. DJ LeMahieu can't handle it. Gregorius is aboard. Would have been a tough play for the Rockies second baseman. A 1-out base runner now, and Chase Anderson comes up. That's the 4th D-backs hit tonight against Jordan Lyles.
We've seen LeMahieu make this play so many times against the Diamondbacks this year. It's a surprise when he doesn't make the play. Just couldn't find the handle as he made the exchange from glove hand into bare hand. And Didi reaches with 1 out in the inning.
Inoa at third will come in on the grass. 1 out Anderson now. Squares to bunt and fouls it away. 0-1. Glenn Sherlock with the signs down at third. Dave McKay coaching at first. And Lyles already at 35 pitches through 1 1/3. Chase gets the bunt down first base side. Lyles has 1 play, and Gregorius moves up with 2 outs.
Nicely done, especially as hot as Ender Inciarte has been recently. Get that runner into scoring position even with 2 outs in the inning. Take your chances.
And so here is Ender, who singled and scored to lead off the ball game. He's hit an 8 straight. As we mentioned, he just keeps getting better and better all the time, especially in that identity of the leadoff man. Does so many little things well that you want your leadoff guy to do. He hit .235 during the first half of the season, but since the All-Star break, he's close to 300. There's a strike, 0-1. Ender often refers to his start in the big leagues as terrible. That's being a bit hard on himself. But he opened up with 4 hits in his first 36 at-bats. Once he got through that, he has been very consistent. Slow roller to LeMahieu, slightly easier play that time, and they strand Gregorius. Bottom 2 coming up in downtown Denver. D-backs lead the Rockies 1-0.
I went 7 days off doing almost nothing. And I had a lot of time to think. I think a lot. I just figured a couple stuff that I had to do in the game, and I just think how to settle down, how to concentrate more and not put in a lot of pressure on me. I want to show everything I could do in one day, and baseball is not one day.
Well, somewhat revealing conversation I had today with Ender Inciarte. He's talking about the concussion he had back on June 12th in Houston. After that, he came back a week later. You heard him, guys. He's thought about a lot of things. He came out more relaxed. His average after that, 80 points higher. And he really, earlier in that conversation, said, I want to thank the D-backs for sticking with me, because we all remember how tough the start to his season was when he made his debut on May 2nd and the ensuing weeks, how difficult that was for him at the plate and how rough it was. And he really thanked the D-backs for sticking with him and not sending him back to the minors.
Michael Kadire reaches down and pokes that foul down the right field line. Yeah, Jody mentioned that a moment ago. Ender started out 4 for 36 to begin the year, a start that he often refers to as terrible. But if you throw out the 4 for 36, the batting average for the season would be well over 280, and last 75 games he's at almost 290.
And his approach just looks completely different. He looks much more relaxed, much more content to let the ball travel and get deep into the hitting zone and then shoot it on the left side of the infield or into left field. Seemed like early in the season he was trying to show he could drive the ball into right center field, down the line in right. Got fooled by some off-speed pitches, got fooled by some breaking pitches, but has been much better since his return.
He's a showy guy out there, not a show-off by any stretch, but we've talked about this. He is an emotion on your sleeve kind of guy, and he's animated out there. And if you can see that with Ender Inciarte externally, imagine what's going on internally. And in an effort to kind of calm that down a bit, sure has paid off. Michael Kadire strikes out, 4 up, 4 down for Anderson. And here comes Corey Dickerson, second strikeout for Chase.
Kadire to chase a pitch off the zone away, but as you saw earlier in the bat, he hits the ball from foul line to foul line. He's not averse to chasing a pitch up and away and driving it into that right field corner, but that time Chase blew it right by him.
Yeah, Kadire, a big night last night. 3 hits, including his 8th home run of the year. Here's Dickerson back in the starting lineup. First pitch swinging, pops it up, third base side. Jake Lamb, Gregorius, looks like it's Didi in fair territory. And quickly 2 down in the 5th.
Whoa!
Mark Bellhorn.
Wow.
Now, this was our criteria. You had to have at least 100 at-bats at Coors Field to qualify. So, according to that, Mark Bellhorn is the worst hitter in the history of baseball's greatest offensive ballpark. Mark Bellhorn, as he was known when he won a World Series with the Red Sox in 2004. Bob, your thoughts?
So unusual. There's 3 catchers on that list.
Oh, that must be a mistake.
That must be a mistake. J.D. Klosser actually started as a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. Later came here to play for the Rockies.
Speaking of catchers, here's Willeen Rosario. Had himself a pretty good night last night. 4 for 5, 3 RBIs, including the walk-off homer that cleared the seats in left field. Hit off the concourse back there underneath that scoreboard. Off Addison Reed, the walk-off winner.
It's one of the longer home runs I've seen in this ballpark, and I've seen some long ones. He hit it so high off the bat, I thought it was, it was going to be a deep fly ball to left, but I didn't think it had a chance to get out when it came off his bat. But like everything else hit in the air last night, it just kept carrying and carrying and carrying. And before you know it, it was up there on the concourse underneath the scoreboard.
He hit that ball as high in the air as that light standard is right there. It looked like for a moment it would be a routine fly ball. But he keeps hitting the ball hard, knocks it into left center field. Willeen Rosario with the Rockies' first hit. It was way up there and way back there. We're told it actually went into the men's room. And I assume several guys did chasing after it.
Some of the guys that were in the men's room may have had a surprise, but
hello. So Rosario, 8 RBIs in his last 4 games, is having a big month of September to close out his season. Is aboard with 2 outs for the third baseman, Rafael Ynoa. Ynoa just 9 games in the big leagues, but he's got 11 hits and 31 at-bats, all singles. 27-year-old rookie. That is by a diving Trumbo at first. Rosario takes the turn. He will head for third. Long throw by Ross is almost over the head of Lamb, and that allows Ynoa to sneak into second. They gave the Rocky hitter an extra 90 feet right there.
That's a mistake we've seen David Peralta and Ender Inciarte make several times this season, but you don't expect it from Cody Ross. This throw has to be low enough for the infielders to cut it off and hold that runner at first base. No chance to get Rosario at third, and that throw airmail to everybody.
So now it's second and third. 2 outs. No double play possibility with Ynoa in at second, and here's DJ LeMahieu, the second baseman. Had an RBI double last night. Anderson misses there. It's 1-0. LeMahieu 4 for his last 27 up there. He's at 265 on the year. Chase Anderson so far 20 pitches, 17 for strikes. But he's behind on LeMahieu, 1-0. DJ LeMahieu hit over 280 in the first half of the year. Nearly 50 points below that since the All-Star break. One and two. 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Chase Anderson that time. Chase has won all 3 of his starts against the Rockies this year, giving up just 1 run each time. And he strikes out LeMahieu and strands 2. 3 strikeouts for Chase Anderson. And through 2, the D-backs lead it 1-0. That kid is going to be a ball player. A reminder, fans, send us your fan photo on the Twitter with a hashtag and the whole thing AZ Fan Photo for your chance to have your fan photo shown coming up later in our game broadcast, brought to you by AT&T. Jeff Munn, who has play-by-play duties on the radio side tonight, is on the clock. Little Hudson Ross. He is he's always running around He's like a baseball gym rat. And he can throw a baseball farther and more accurately than most adults. He looks like a player. Chris Owings, first pitch swinging. Rutledge throws him out, 1 away. Yeah, Jeff Mondo on the clock tonight for the AT&T fan photo. It kind of squeaked by last night, I thought.
Little concerned, an edgy photo last night. Barely got him a plus grade, and then doing play-by-play duties on the radio tonight. I'm a little afraid he's going to be distracted.
Yeah, there's a lot to worry about with money, that's for sure. A.J. Pollock singled his first time up. Yeah, we've watched Hudson Ross last couple of years now take batting practice. He's always down there throwing with the Mark Reed. Casey Wilcox is always playing catch with Hudson. He runs around in a uniform. Can't get enough. He's just got that smile on his face all the time. Always wants to throw the ball with you.
Probably bored to death tonight, sitting in the stands watching.
Killing him, wants to be in the cages with Dad hidden.
Yeah, he's critiquing the Bat Boys.
A roller to second, easy play for LeMahieu, 2 down. Here's Miguel Montero, singled his first time up. Let me know if you want to read a promo, by the way.
I'll wait a little.
All right. Good timing. A lot going on.
Yes, indeed. Hey, fans. Anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Hashtag seamless. Miggy gets that up in the air. Shallow left center field. Dickerson and Blackman are over there. And it'll be Corey Dickerson as Jordan Lyles works a quick 1-2-3 third. D-backs lead at 1-0.
Process a little bit more, I guess, conservative. Get your workouts in and stuff like that. But I've monitored my throwing a lot in between. Kind of just lowered the volume down in that sense, and recovered a little bit better that way, and just not overtaxing my body between starts and being more fresh on day 5 or day 6, whatever it may be.
Geico quoted the game from Chase Anderson. In the minors, Chase would do a lot of work each and every day between starts, and now he's really cut back on that. Again, guys mentioned in the pregame, he was shut down for about 2 weeks around the All-Star break, and then going to the 6-man rotation. It's all helped him, but with the downtime, he's just done less. He still does a ton of cardio the day after his start. That hasn't changed, but as far as throwing, some of the weightlifting, you see the innings jump there, 60 and a third. That is a big jump. But again, Bob, like you said earlier in the game, they've really watched him very, very closely to get him to this point.
He's facing his opposite number, Jordan Lyles. Yeah, with Chase, it's all about the innings. 88 at Reno last year. And this year, when you add the 39 innings he pitched at Mobile to begin the season, to the 109 he has pitched in the big leagues going into tonight, that puts him at 60 innings, more than he threw all of last year. And so we're told he will be shut down after tonight. 60 innings is a whole lot. He rings up Lyles for his 4th strikeout.
And Chase talking about his routine, especially between starts. And it's a common thing for a young pitcher coming up through the minor leagues. You're always trying to impress. You want to do something to set yourself apart from the guys you're competing against to get to the big leagues. So you always want to do a little bit more. Then once you get to the big leagues, it's hard to get that mentality to throttle back a little bit. But you'd much rather slow a guy down a little bit than try to light a fire under it.
Charlie Blackmon, the leadoff man, steps in. Popped up to third his first time up. Chase Anderson, well, health is always a concern for a young starting pitcher, but he's 26 years old. He'll turn 27 coming up in November. It's a little bit older than the 22 or 23-year-old guy for whom you'd be counting every pitch and every inning, biting your fingernails. Chase is a little further along in age, and despite that, he's somewhat behind in his innings progression because he's had some health concerns before. A fly ball to left field. Ender Inciarte's there. 2 down. Anderson's second season in pro ball was 2010. He worked 108 innings that year at South Bend and Visalia. Okay, that's a good start, but the following season he worked only 3 games all year, had a strained flexor tendon in his elbow, and that really set him back. Came back in 2012 just as a starter, got back to 104 innings with Mobile. But then last year at Reno in AAA, only 88. Here's Josh Rutledge. That's where he split time between the rotation and the bullpen, so his innings progression, in a sense, took another step backward last year. And there was some debate. Would he be best served in terms of effectiveness and health if he was a reliever rather than a starter? And I think that's the debate they may be having right now with Daniel Hudson. Different case coming off 2 Tommy Johns. So the innings last year for Chase a bit down. But he's rolling along here tonight. He has retired 4 in a row. 1, 2, 3, third. He leads it 1-0. Coyotes begin their hockey season. They'll take on the Winnipeg Jets Thursday, October 9th. 6 o'clock, it starts with a special 1-hour Coyotes Live pregame show. And then the Phoenix Suns begin their season. That's against the Lakers Wednesday, October 29th at 6:30, beginning with the Suns Live pregame show, all right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Mark Trumbo leads off the fourth against Jordan Lyles. Diamondbacks lead at 1-0. Trumbo drove in the game's first run on a fielder's choice with the bases loaded back in the first. 235 and 9 homers on the year for Mark. He's had a good September, 16 games this month. He's got 14 hits, including 7 doubles and a home run, so the slugging percentage is way up this month. And he's down 0-2. And this is a guy you like to see play 82 games, 81 games, whatever it is in this ballpark. Talk about Coors Field hitters. He might hit it over the men's room back there. There's bounce to shortstop, Josh Rutledge. Throw pulls Morneau off the bag, but that's the first out in the fourth. 6 in a row now set down by Lyles, who seems to have settled in. Jake Lamb a ground out his first time.
See Jake feature that good quick swing. Every time he seems to hit the ball hard to center or left center, it's with that real short abbreviated follow through. Makes contact and then stops his bat very shortly afterwards. Not sure if it's just a coincidence or a mental mindset that he has when he takes that particular swing, but occasionally he can get long and loopy. The short quick swing has really produced some good results for him.
Right back up the middle for a base hit. Jake Lamb a 1-out single. Big smile down there.
Pretty quick swing this time. Goes from his hand position right to the ball, and that short abbreviated follow through. You don't see that long pose at the end of the swing. That's the one that works for Jake.
Well, Lyles has been racking up the ground ball out so far in this ball game. And at times, as often does with sinker ball pitchers, one sneaks through. So Lamb's at first, 1 out for Cody, who flat out his first time. Jordan Lyles last pitched on Sunday. That was a loss to the Cardinals. In St. Louis, went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, 9 hits. He has not been terribly efficient out there for a guy that succeeds by pitching to contact. 8 starts since his return from the DL. He's pitched past the 6th inning only once. But he is throwing strikes tonight. 50 pitches, 41 strikes. Dad is up. And there's Cody with a base hit.
Young Mr. Ross doesn't seem to be so impressed with that base hit up the middle.
He's more impressed with the Cracker Jacks. Well, Summers got her hands full with that bunch. They'll keep her busy. Didi Gregorius. Didi singled his first time up. Like Willian Rosario from time to time will go into Tony Pena mode back there.
He does some things behind the plate that I can't easily explain, but he's made great strides from where he was a couple of years ago. He was a liability behind the plate. It was hit or miss whether he was even going to catch the ball, but really has worked hard on his defensive skills. Still has a ways to go.
Every once in a while you'll see that leg kick out like Tony Pena. great catcher with the Pirates and the Red Sox and some other teams. Tony looked like he was reading a magazine back there sometimes, just relaxing on the sofa, catching a ball game.
Tony Pena was an amazing physical specimen. I don't really think he had any tendons or ligaments in any joints in his body. He'd come out of the first base dugout at Old Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, and the very first throw he would make of the day was harder than my best after warming up all day. He was loose when he woke up in the morning. Could go into a catcher squat at 3 o'clock in the morning and not bother him at all.
He was one of those guys back there with a big arm, right?
Oh, yeah. We were talking about it with Buster Posey on our catching extravaganza a few days ago, and how some guys, you just look at them and they look like catchers. It's a very natural position for them. The gear seems to fit them exactly the way it's supposed to. They move around behind the plate exactly the way you would expect a catcher to move around. And for other guys, it's a learning process. They end up behind the plate either by default because they have a good bat and you need to find somewhere to play them, or they've proven they can't play anywhere else on the field. And Rosario, to me, is one of those guys that's a work in progress. There's really not much natural about his defense behind home plate, but he is improving.
He has been, by all accounts, a very hard worker on his physical skill set back there, and has been diligent about all the homework involved as well. That's popped up. First base side, Justin Morneau. Infield fly rule is called, and that's the second out.
Now for the Rockies, it's a good thing Morneau saw that ball, because DJ LeMahieu had no idea where it was. We've got that dusky sky right now. The lights haven't really fully taken effect on high pop-ups. LeMahieu was just standing there with his arms at his side looking up in the air. He had no idea where it went.
You can see the umpires signal immediately here, infield fly, when they raise their arms up. There it is. That's Mike Everett down at first. Cody just
cover up.
Duck and cover. 2 on, 2 out for Chase Anderson. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Little roller to second base. LeMahieu one more time, and Lyle strands 2. Bottom 4 coming up in downtown Denver. D-backs lead the Rockies 1-0. Field. This used to be the home of the group that was known, BB, as the old Blake Street Bombers.
Oh, man, were they an entertaining team to watch.
Larry Walker, Andres Galarraga. Look at that ball.
They were 6 or 7 guys deep in that lineup. All of them could hit the ball 500 feet or better, and you could just imagine playing 81 games in this ballpark, and they were a fun team to watch. They didn't win a whole lot because you have to pitch as well to be successful in this game, but man, could they hit.
That was Dante Bichette on that last one. And that is our Coors Banquet timeless moment. Larry Walker, Andres Galarraga, El Gato Grande, the Big Cat, Dante Bichette, and Vinny Castilla. Those four guys in '95, the first year of this ballpark. They hit a few homers over the course of their careers as well.
I've mentioned it before. Vinny Castilla to this day is the best high fastball hitter I've ever seen. You could not throw a high fastball by Vinny Castilla. He hit one off the scoreboard at then Bank One Ballpark in Arizona. For a long time, it was the longest home run I'd ever seen in that ballpark.
Justin Morneau trying to win the NL batting title. 0 for 5 yesterday, 0 for 1 so far. He's dropping behind the Pirates' Josh Harrison in the race for the National League batting title. He was at 320 yesterday, 317 now to begin the ball game tonight. So he was 2 back of Harrison, and now he's at 316.
Josh Harrison 1 for 3 tonight. Pirates playing the Brewers.
Just off the glove of Chris Owings, a bit out of CO's reach, and there's a hit from Morneau. He'll take every one at this point.
Defensively, you can't play a shift on Justin Morneau because he will spray the ball around. You can see Chris Owings is playing at a straight up position out there at second base. For a lot of left-handed hitters, he would have been cheating over several steps toward that hole between first and second and probably gobbled that one up.
Rockies had the NL batting champion last year. This gentleman, Michael Kadire, won the batting title here last season. He might win another one here in this series. Lines that one to Cody Ross, though, for the first out in the fourth. Kadire 3 hits last night, including a home run.
Well, that was one of those line drives. Looks like it was right in the lights, high above the third base side of the field. Cody Ross thankful to get that one and get the ball back into the infield quickly. Played it off to the side just a little bit as it looked like it was dipping right into the lights at the very end of that play.
Big sigh of relief from Cody on that one. Coming right at him out of that bank of lights. And here's another guy that might win the batting title with the Rockies this year. It's Corey Dickerson. Popped out his first time. He's hit in 4 straight games. And he came into tonight hitting .311 on the year, which would place him 3rd in the National League race, just behind Morneau, and 8 points back of Harrison for the batting title. But Dickerson is in something of another race as well. He's trying to get enough plate appearances to qualify. You need 502 to qualify for the batting title. And he began tonight 46 plate appearances shy of that. And so he's going to need 4 or 5 plate appearances just about every game for the rest of the season here, trying to qualify. And, you know, a Rocky winning a batting title is hardly news.
Ho-hum. The one big advantage Larry Walker had, winning 3 titles here as a member of the Rockies, he could run. He could leg out some infield hits. Turn singles into doubles, doubles into triples.
Downtown Denver on a Friday night in late September. Just gorgeous here.
The camera doesn't truly catch the colors. That the lighter part you see, the orangish part, looks like orange sherbet ice cream. Getting hungry here.
I should have known. 0-2 on Dickerson. That one is going to squeak through into right field. Morneau running hard. He'll get into 3rd. And the Rockies have runners in the corners with 1 out here in the 4th.
Now, one thing you could be sure with Dickerson, if indeed he wants to challenge for that batting title, he's not going to walk. He's going to swing that bat every time he gets a plate appearance, and this is no exception here. He gets fooled a little bit on a pitch low and away, kind of a one-handed topspin swing, and finds that hole in the right side of the infield.
Yeah, he is a swing hard in case you hit it guy.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes him fun to watch. But Wallweiss says he does have that rare ability to hit for very high average and power. He's a pure hitter. So it's Justin Morneau at third, Dickerson back at first. One out, and the dangerous Willeen Rosario. 4 for 5 last night, a single his first time up tonight. Finishing a frustrating season with a big final month. He's now hit safely in 7 straight games and 8 of 9 here in September. He's batting almost 500 for the month, including 4 doubles and 2 homers. Just back in the lineup recently. Missed 2 weeks with the left wrist inflammation, and that's been a problem for him all year long. A man known here as the Bull. And he's a guy that fits into that category that, Bob, you were talking about in the previous half inning. It's, you know, some guys look like catchers, some guys are athletes back there, some guys aren't. But this is a guy you've got to find a spot for the bat. It just might not be behind the plate. It's becoming an issue here.
And, you know, we've talked a lot about Coors Field the first couple games of this series. It's not like you can stick him out there in the corner outfield and hide him. Yeah. This is a ballpark where you don't send your bad defenders to the outfield.
He gets it under the glove of Gregorius to tie the ball game. Dickerson runs into third, and Willeen Rosario continues the hit parade. It's 1-1. He is on fire right now.
This is one of those innings for Chase Anderson where you have to look beyond the numbers. He's given up 3 hits and a run already. All 3 have been ground balls that have narrowly squeaked through. It's not like they're squaring him up and hitting line drives all over the park, just some ground balls that have found holes.
He has been extremely efficient tonight. A 7-pitch first, a 16-pitch second, and 8-pitch third. And he's run into some troubles here in the fourth. Still only a 1 out, a run in. They're on the corners now for Rafael Ynoa, the third baseman. Ynoa singled his first time up, foul back 0-1. Rafael Ynoa made quite an impression on Labor Day here in Colorado. That was his first major league game. It was against the Giants, and he went 3 for 4. Had another 3-hit day in their big 16-2 blowout of the Dodgers here on Wednesday. That one is down the left field line, and a fair ball. This is trouble. Inciarte plays it off the carom. Dickerson scores. Rosario in at third, and it's an RBI double for Rafael Ynoa, his first major league double.
Looked a little like Ender Inciarte right there. I know I let that ball get deep into the zone. Nice quick swing, just flipped it down that third base line. Thought it might slice into foul territory, but comes down just inside the foul line.
Mike Harkey. Time for a visit. 4 hits in the inning against Chase Anderson. Mentioned that Chase has had nothing but success against the Rockies this year. He's won all 3 of his starts versus Colorado, gave up only 1 run each time. Beat the Rockies June 3rd, his first start here at Coors, gave up only 4 hits in 6. August 8th, again allowed only 4 hits in 6 innings of work. He won a game at Chase Field and beat the Rockies again 3 starts ago, again back in Phoenix. 5 hits allowed in 6, had 8 strikeouts. But now he trails it 2-1 here in the fourth with 2 on and 1 out for DJ LeMahieu. LeMahieu struck out his first time up. In the air, right field. Rosario is standing at third, ready to tag, and he will come on in. It's 3-1 Colorado. Ynoa moves into third. Two down now for the pitcher, Lyles. Rockies have won 10 of their last 12 here at Coors. Both these teams coming into tonight with identical 62 and 91 records. A win here for the Rockies tonight would make it the first time Colorado was alone in 4th in the NL West since July 11th, which is the last time the Diamondbacks were last in the division. Anderson behind 2-0. There's a strike, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Fastball right at the bottom of the zone there. I'll tell you one thing about Chase Anderson. He's given up 3 runs here in this inning, and as I mentioned, not really hit hard. Noah's ball down the left field line, probably the best hit ball of the inning, is his poise out there on the mound. He's looked that way since day one in the big leagues. Like he understands there's going to be adversity. You never see him out there wringing his hands or blaming his fielders or blaming the umpire. He just gets the ball, maintains his focus, has tremendous poise on the mound.
50 pitches, 42 for strikes. And he walks the pitcher with 2 outs. First walk issued by the Diamondback rookie right-hander. Brings up Charlie Blackmon.
It's about the time I talk about his poise. He walks the pitcher, but
but you're right. He has made great strides this year, and he has shown in the minds of a lot of evaluators that he belongs in the major leagues. And he says that, when you get up here and actually do it, it's reassuring that if you stay healthy, you can do this for a long time. And he has shown he is certainly a candidate to do that for the Diamondbacks. But he's got to keep building on what he's done this year. Blackmon 0 for 2. Yanks that one foul.
Hit it in the hot dog stand.
Wow. Raffaele Noah, the runner at third. The pitcher Lyles is aboard at first. 3 runs in for the Rockies. 0-1 to Blackmon is high, a ball and a strike. Charlie Blackmon had a big first half, hit .305 with 14 home runs, went to the All-Star game. He has not done well this year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. The bat has been quiet since the break, just over .250 with 4 home runs in the second half of the year. Chases that one 1-2 now. Yuri De La Rosa warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Oliver Perez has got something of a dead arm right now. They like to stay away from Addison Reed as well. Daniel Hudson has been shut down for the year. So Kirk Gibson a little short-handed back there tonight. 1-2 on Charlie Blackmon. 2 on, 2 outs. Here it is.
I don't know if that's ever been said in the month of September before. A team is a little short in the bullpen.
Hard to imagine.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I was looking at the 40-man roster today. The only 3 other candidates that could possibly have been recalled without requiring some maneuvering would have been Bo Schultz, Charles Brewer, and Mike Bolsinger. And Brewer has thrown close to 180 innings this year, so he's probably cooked. Mike Bolsinger well below that as far as innings pitched, and the same thing for Bo Schultz, but going at it tonight with just 7 available relief pitchers. Some of those guys are very limited in what they can provide.
25th pitch of the inning on the way. Get my man Brew up here. Always entertaining to have the great Charles Brewer here with us. Laboring in the 4th after very efficient first 3 for Chase. It's full. You know, with a runner at third, Lyles at first, 2 outs, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Charlie Blackmon. Lyles off from first with a pitch that's in the air. Chris Owings has got it on the outfield grass, and that's the inning. But the Rockies get 3, and through 4 they lead it 3-1. You in part by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. Rocky Mountain High as we head to the 5th here. D-backs trail the Rockies 3-1. You'll get reaction on the ball game at FoxSportsArizona.com along with Jack Magruder's article on A.J. Pollock batting 3rd in the D-backs lineup. The latest news on John Abraham in Cardinals camp. And Arizona gets set for Cal on Saturday. ASU goes up against UCLA Thursday. All that and more at FoxSportsArizona.com as we start the 5th. Inciarte, Owings, Pollock 1, 2, and 3. After the Rockies get 3 in the 4th against Chase Anderson. And Jordan Lyles, who really struggled through a difficult first inning, has settled in nicely here. He's got the ground ball working.
He did give up 2 base hits in that 4th inning, but fortunately for him, it was at the bottom of the order. Didi Gregorius popped up to first, and Chase Anderson grounded out to second to get him out of that jam.
Inciarte singled and scored to lead off the ball game. He's 1 for 2. He's got an 8-game hitting streak. Noah comes in on the grass at third. There's strike 1. Miguel Montero recently talking about Ender Inciarte in the leadoff spot, and Miggy said, you know, if you look at it, every time Inciarte gets on base, the whole team just kind of goes. And he has been a guy who, in the mind of Miguel Montero, sparks the ball club. And Miggy says, you know what, I really, really like him. He's a good guy to have on your team. Yeah, he's had a very impressive second half of the year, that's for sure.
Well, he's definitely a little bit of a throwback. We've talked about that leadoff spot in baseball and how it's kind of evolved over the years, but Ender looks like a leadoff hitter. He bunts, he runs, he slaps the ball the other way. If you make a mistake on the inside part, he'll jerk it down in the right field corner. He's got surprising pop for a little guy. He's right out of that Lenny Dykstra, Brett Butler kind of a mold, you know, the old-fashioned leadoff hitters.
And a lot of that is attitude. Brett Butler played that spot with a little more polish and poise. Well, everyone did compared to Lenny Dykstra, but I mean, Inciarte seems like he's got a lot of nails in him, which was Lenny Dykstra's old nickname. You know, the uniform's always dirty. He's got kind of pine tar everywhere and seems grouchy sometimes, animated, always in your face a little bit, not in a bad way, certainly. There's an easy fly ball to Kadire in right field. And If you read Jack McGruder's article, we were just talking about that at FoxSportsArizona.com, talking about A.J. Pollock as a number 3 hitter in your batting order. Now that's going to be Goldie's spot next year, but just the idea that maybe you do have Inciarte lead off and do drop A.J. Pollock down somewhere in the lineup to give him better RBI chances, despite the fact he was doing so well as a leadoff man before the hand injury. Something to think about during a long winter. Here's Chris Owings. COO for 2. Well, we're talking about lineups. What do you think about this young man as a number 2 hitter? We talked a lot during the Giants series about what a great job Joe Panik, their rookie second baseman, has done hitting second for Bruce Bochy. CO seems like the same kind of guy, and he bangs one in left for a base hit.
I kind of like him in that 2 spot. Of course, it depends on the guys around him and how it all best fits together, but he's shown the ability to hit the ball to the right side of the field when necessary. He too has surprising pop for a guy that's small of stature, and he runs extremely well. I like him in that 2 spot.
Owings a single. He's 1 for 3. Here's AJ, who's singled in the first. So he's hit in 5 straight. Long set by Lyles, and Johnson grants time behind the plate. And AJ had a run of close to 2 months before he was injured, when it seemed like he was really on his way to an all-star type breakthrough. And the hints of the skill set and the tools that he had shown flashes of before are now kind of seeming like they were blossoming. And AJ said, you know, first couple of years he played in the big leagues, he would think to himself, I know there's a lot more there. But for some reason it wasn't coming out, he said, at least not consistently. But this year, AJ says he felt like he was clicking a little better and for longer stretches of time. And the consistency finally was there, and he looked like an all-star player. And he wants to just keep building from that, hopefully get better and better. And he has shown absolutely no signs of rust since he came back on from the DL. He's looked great.
You know what else has looked really great? That bat he's swinging. I saw him down on the field during batting practice today. It's a birch bat that's flame treated. I mean, it looks like a piece of art. You can see every grain in the wood, different shades of brown. It's a beautiful piece of lumber. I don't know if I want to use it to hit with. I'd put it in my office somewhere.
See that lettering at the top of the barrel. There's the shot of the birch bat. That is a nice looking baseball bat right there. There it is.
Look at that. Gorgeous. I would want to get it dirty with all that pine tar and rosin. Get 4 of those and make a chair.
It's got like sort of a modernized, classic, old school look. You know, it's got some new polish on it, but that old school color. Something a guy might have used back in the 1910s or 20s.
Chopped a branch off a tree and whittled himself a bat.
You just use whatever showed up, right?
I got a little pickier later in my career, but yeah.
Well, one hopper right to Morneau. They'll get the force on Owings, but Pollock gets up the line and beats it out.
Slightest bit of a bobble there at first base by Morneau, which makes it a tough play at second for Rutledge. He hangs in there tough. Look at him take that hit from Chris Owings. Still tries to turn that double play. He holds his ground. Owings went into him hard. With AJ speed, he's able to leg it out.
Who's the best guy you ever saw at turning that 3-6-3 down there at first? Anybody jump out? Probably. That's a tough one.
Keith Hernandez, because he was a left-handed thrower, it was much easier for him to turn that 3-6-3. He'd have to be up near the top of the list. A guy we showed earlier, one of the Blake Street Bombers, Andres Galarraga, was a very agile first baseman. I mean, he could field that ground ball and spin with his back to second base and throw a strike to that shortstop every time on the 3-6-3.
That's something that we have gotten spoiled watching Goldie do as well.
No question about it.
He just makes it look so easy down there. He is an elite defensive first baseman. 70 pitches now for Lyles, 56 strikes, and he's ahead of Miguel Montero, 0-2. A rough first for Lyles, but he's had that two-seam fastball working. A lot of ground ball outs, and when he's been beaten for base hits, they've been grounders through the infield. Pitching to contact. He's got only one strikeout tonight. Misses away there, a ball and 2 strikes. 9 ground ball out so far through, 4 2/3. Pretty impressive. Throw strikes, pitch to contact. 72 pitches, 57 strikes, a lot of ground ball outs. That'll work. There's another one coming up right here. DJ LeMahieu throws out Montero, and that's the inning. Bottom 5 coming up. D-backs trail at 3-1.
We talked about that 4th inning offensively for the Rockies, and it wasn't like Chase was making a lot of bad pitches. Justin Morneau reaches out, pulls the ball back to right field. Kadire with an inside-out swing for a long fly ball to right. A couple of ground balls just pounded into the dirt. That's probably the best swing of the inning. Noah driving that ball down the left field line, but everything else was just seeing eye ground balls that found their way through the infield. Pretty good pitches.
They had a 1-0 lead going into that 4th inning. Morneau single, Dickerson single, Rosario single to drive in a run. RBI double by Ynoa. LeMahieu a sac fly. A 3-run 4th for Colorado, and now he's back out there to work to Josh Rutledge, Justin Morneau, and Michael Kadire, 2, 3, and 4 in the Rocky 5th. Rutledge so far is 0 for 2. Diamondbacks have out-hit the Rockies 7-6, but they trail at 3-1. All 7 Arizona hits so far have been singles. Adrian Johnson belting out those strike calls back there. Do me a favor, when you eventually take over, and you will, just based on everything, when you're running baseball, helping out Mr. Manfred, and you get your robot umpires back there, make sure that the recorded voice for the strike call is not a beep or a tone. I want Adrian Johnson belting that out there.
I thought you were a Jim Joyce guy.
He's right up there, too.
Yeah.
Adrian Johnson kind of under the radar. Especially on those strike threes, he'll let you know. You'll hear it all the way back in Arizona.
I was thinking more James Earl Jones.
Really deep. This is a strike. You're my father. 2-2. Swing and a miss. There's the strikeout. One away here in the fifth. That's 5 strikeouts for Chase Anderson.
Yeah, that's nearly an unhittable strike right there. Bottom of the knees, outside corner.
How about Morgan Freeman? I think I can get you Morgan Freeman.
He'd work.
Andy Dufresne. Chris Owings at second. They retire Morneau, 2 down. Brings up Michael Kadire. 3 hits last night, but 0 for 2 so far in tonight. He's hit safely in 5 straight. Walt Weiss said earlier this month he wants Michael Kadire back here in a Rockies uniform next year. He'll be 36 next season. He's a free agent after this one. Signed a 3-year, $31 million deal with Colorado following an all-star year in Minnesota. That deal's about to expire. And why wouldn't you want him back? All he does here is hit.
Yep.
That finds a gap in left center. That's going to roll all the way to the warning track. Pollock has to get over there and cut it off. And Michael Kadire has his 13th double. So he's now hit safely in 6 straights. Professional hitter.
So quick to the ball for a big guy. Drives that one back up the middle of the field, just past Didi, and just continues to roll in that gap all the way to the wall in left center field. Yeah, why wouldn't you want Kadire back as a manager? I mean, he's a conduit. He's one of those guys that he's not really a coach, but because of his experience in this game and his leadership qualities, he kind of serves that purpose. You know, if you didn't want to call a team meeting and, throw on the alarm sirens and everything like that and the red flags, they call Michael Kadire and say, hey, in there, fire him up a little bit. Boys are a little down today. Go say something to him. And he'd be the guy to go in there and rally the troops.
Is that what you did? Did you have
I had a bunch of guys
sort of
like that. Yeah,
send a spy in there, as it were, to kind of do your dirty work for you?
A conduit is a much nicer
I like
word.
that.
Yeah.
But it probably means something else coming from a veteran teammate, right? That it would the manager.
And a guy like Kadire, I'm assuming, and a lot of the guys I had on that 0-1 team, you didn't have to tell them. They knew. They had been around the game long enough. They'd seen good teams and bad teams, and they could tell when things were going good. Maybe when you need to put a lid on things a little bit, when you need to open it up a little bit more. And that's invaluable to a manager to have a veteran leader like that on your team.
Corey Dickerson singled and scored his last time up. Now, could it work the other way? Could you go to a veteran guy, and we'll just use Michael Kadire as an example because he's here. Could Walt Weiss go to him and say, hey, what's happening with so-and-so? And what about this guy? What's going on with that guy these days? Get information about the teammates from the player to the manager.
Well, that's happened, but there's a very fine line between being a conduit that helps the coaching staff and helps the team at the same time and being what they call a pipeline.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. There's the players' fraternity, and then there's the coaching staff and the manager, and there is a separation there. There's no question about it. And if you've got somebody who's taking stories from the clubhouse to the coaching staff and the manager, that can be a little dicey. And you definitely don't want to get that reputation as a player, as a pipeline, a guy that'll run to the front office and say everything that's going on down in that clubhouse.
Chase Anderson loses Corey Dickerson, his second walk tonight, and the Rockies have 2 on and 2 outs for guess who? Willeen Rosario.
I didn't think you could get Corey Dickerson to walk right now. That's kind of surprising to me, but with a base open, Chase Anderson just wasn't going to give him too much good to hit right there.
And you got to be careful here with this guy. Rosario has had a career so far in this series. 4 for 5, 3 RBIs, the walk-off homer last night. 2 for 2 tonight, a pair of singles and an RBI. He's up there with Kadire at second and Dickerson at first, 2 outs. Oh, stop it. Bangs it into center. They wave Kadire. Dickerson will get in at third, and it's 4-1 Colorado. Willeen Rosario just won't stop hitting. He's 3 for 3.
Oh, he's just seeing that ball as big as a beach ball right now. Squares this one up, back up the middle of the field to drive home another run.
He's got 7 hits in the series, and we're in the 5th inning of the second game. Jeez. We got 2 more to play against these guys after this. Holy Toledo. That's 7 hits and 5 RBIs through a game and a half for Rosario. De La Rosa will resume throwing in the bullpen. Rafael Inoa, he's 2 for 2. Last time up, his first major league double drove in a run. Guy's got 33 at bats in the major leagues in his career. 13 hits. Rafael Inoa, originally signed by the Dodgers out of the Dominican Republic, played 8 years in the Dodgers minor league system, signed with the Rockies. Played this year at AAA Colorado Springs, 115 games, hit just under 300. .75 pitches for Chase Anderson, 55 strikes. By Trumbo and down the right field line. Dickerson scores to make it 5-1. Rosario running hard. They're going to send him all the way in as it rolls away from Cody Ross. Here comes Inoa. Here's the throw, and he is out of there. That ends the inning, but 2 more come in to make it 6-1 Rockies. Rafael Inoa is out at home to end the inning. He tried to take the grand tour, but he was thrown out just a step shy of home plate. And through 5, the D-backs trail it 6-1. Was thrown out trying to stretch it into a full lap around the bases, and here it is.
Well, there's no doubt Miguel Montero gave him plenty of lane to slide to right there. Looked like he got the tag down, and Ynoa just ran that left arm right into the tag before he was able to get the hand on the plate.
The players have left the field. There's no one out there right now but the umpires. We don't have definitive word yet if this is a challenge or if it's an umpire review. And the call is out at home. So it's a triple for Ynoa. 9-4-2 on the putout. There is no violation of Rule 713, we are told, so that was the umpires making sure there was no violation of the collision rule, which is Rule 713 in the rule book. And now we can finish our commercial break here. We will head to the 6th inning when we come back. Diamondbacks trail the Rockies.
That ball hit down into the right field corner, hugging the wall. Cody Ross tried to slide and stop it with his foot. This is a tough right field to play. There's a lot of different angles down in that corner in foul territory, and that time it ricocheted all the way over to straightaway right field before Cody could run it down.
And we have confirmed now that was a umpire review. It was not a challenge by the Diamondbacks. Any play of course at home plate they will look at, which may fall under the jurisdiction of Rule 713, the catcher's interference rule, or the collision rule as it's come to be known. But no challenge, and the call at home was correct. A 2-run triple for Ynoa, 9-4-2 on the putout, and it's 6-1 Rockies as Mark Trumbo leads off the 6th. Fly ball left center field. Corey Dickerson calling off Charlie Blackmon, one away.
Hey fans, when the Diamondbacks win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every D-backs win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
One down for Jake Lamb, who singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Jordan Lyles has done a good job after spotting the Diamondbacks a run in the top of the first. D-backs had 3 singles, the bases loaded in that first inning against Lyles. He has settled in nicely. He's given up only 4 hits since then, all singles. And he's behind on Jake Lamb, 2-0. Lyles was a nice pickup for the Rockies. Big guy out there, 6'4", 215. Throws a lot of ground balls. There's a ground ball base hit for Jake Lamb, who's 2 for 3. And Bob, Jordan Lyles got that two-seam sinking fastball working. He has produced double-digit ground ball outs.
And that's when you know he's at his best. We heard his pitching coach Jim Wright talking about it before the ball game. When he keeps the ball down in the strike zone, he gets a lot of easy ground ball outs, and we've seen that here tonight.
Pitches to contact. Has had pretty decent command. He's been around the strike zone all night. Certainly close enough to get the Diamondbacks to keep swinging at those. 80 pitches, 62 for strikes. All one to Cody. Lyles was a guy who was a first-round draft pick by the Astros back in 2008 out of Hartsville, South Carolina. 10 ground outs so far. But he had no success in Houston. Very young guy. He's still only 23. This is his 4th year in the big leagues. Pitched to an ERA over 5 at Coors Field this year, but he's got a 4-1 record in 9 starts here this season. And they identified him in their trade over the offseason for Dexter Fowler as a guy who could succeed in this ballpark because he doesn't depend on strikeouts. He throws that heavy two-seam sinker. And opposing hitters just kind of, as we've seen tonight, beat it into the ground. Sometimes they roll through the infield for hits. Other times they're outs.
Well, for a guy like Jordan Lyles, he is really dependent on his coaching staff and where they position the infielders. If you're a ground ball pitcher, you want to make sure those infielders are playing in the right spot where the batter is most likely to hit that ground ball if you execute your pitch.
2-1 to Cody. This one is belted to left center field. That is going to get down and roll to the wall. It stays in the yard. That'll allow Jake Lamb to come on in. It's an RBI double for Cody Ross, his 8th of the year, and it's 6-2. And that is right under the heading, Bob, of what we've talked about with Cody swinging the bat with a lot more authority these days.
A completely different looking hitter than we saw earlier this season when he initially came back from that horrific hip injury. There wasn't a lot of sting in his bat. He was getting his hits, a lot of soft line drives and ground balls, but just couldn't seem to generate that line drive power and the ability to split a gap or hit a ball down the line. But we've seen it more recently. 8th double of the season for Cody Ross.
And that's the 9th hit tonight for the Diamondbacks, but their first extra base hit against Jordan Lyles. Quick visit from the pitching coach, Jim Wright. Didi Gregorius is the hitter. The pitcher spot is due up next, and take a look at who's on deck. Sight for sore eyes, David Peralta. Didi, hard grounder to second. It backs up LeMahieu. That's the second out. Cody moves to third, and we'll see David Peralta. It's been a while for David Peralta. Comes in with an 8-game hitting streak. He's had a back injury. An MRI showed no structural damage. Just kind of tweaked at lifting weights before. 6th, it's Oktoberfest at Chase Field, presented by Ballpark brand. Es wird eine sehr lustige Nacht. Enjoy a special beer garden in the Chase Field Upper Concourse. Plus, you'll get this great D-Backs ceramic Oktoberfest Stein when you purchase a special event ticket package. Remember, though, you got to get the special ticket package to get your Oktoberfest Stein. Kommen und haben eine wunderbare Zeit. For more information, visit dbacks.com/events. Es wird eine sehr lustige Nacht.
I'm telling you, I've heard you practice this from the first day we saw that promo, and your German is really good.
Well, I've been watching the longest day on the flights over and over and over again. I hope I said it will be a very fun night. Come and have a wonderful time, but I'm not quite sure. Yuri De La Rosa on to open up the bottom of the 6th. Kommen und haben eine wunderbare Zeit.
There you go.
That's about as best as I can do.
I agree.
DJ LeMahieu. LeMahieu has struck out, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. Pitcher spot is due up next for the Rockies, and Kyle Parker, a former Clemson football player, is on deck, and LeMahieu gets himself a knock to lead off the inning, and now that's going to be it for Jordan Lyles. Here's Kyle Parker, who will hit for the pitcher. And that ends the night for the 23-year-old right-hander, Jordan Lyles, who pitched a really good ball game.
Typical Jordan Lyles ball game when he's good. He only struck out one batter, did not walk a Diamondbacks hitter. After that first inning, he settled in nicely.
All those ground ball outs. Parker belts one high in the air down the left field line. That ball is drifting foul. And that's the kind of power they were looking for when they made Kyle Parker a first-round pick in the draft 4 years ago out of Clemson. He was the 26th player selected overall. This is just his 17th at bat in the major league, so far 188 without an extra base hit.
They might need to raise the foul poles here at Coors Field another 50 feet or so. That ball went way over the foul pole.
Yeah, what is it about? Well, I guess the answer obviously is the elevation, but the balls here are just so much higher in the air than anywhere else. The Rosario home run last night was higher than the scoreboard.
I remember guys talking about infield pop-ups. It felt like you were staring up in the air for 20 seconds waiting for the ball to come back down, even on an infield pop-up. Great hang time.
Good place to be a punter. Swing and bunt right there. Montero throws Parker out, and Mayhew moves up. Charlie Blackmon now with the best walk-up music in the major leagues. It's all subjective, of course, but it's personal favorite. 0 for 3 so far. Charlie Blackmon, tell by that beard, he's a little bit of a whack job. He's a funny guy. He's different. He once told somebody, said he can't remember who it was, but his goal as a baseball player was to be good enough to get in a fighter jet. You know how they invite guys down to the, the air base and they fly them around in the F-14, whatever it is? He wanted to be that guy. He flies model planes, those are the remote controlled ones. He flies them around the ballpark. Says Top Gun is his favorite movie. And he wants to get invited into a fighter jet. Talk to me, Goose. 1-1.
I got to fess up here. I was invited to go up in one of those fighter jets after the World Series in '01, and I very politely and respectfully said no.
I mean, they always get a camera shot of the poor guy back there, and he looks terrified.
Passing out, and puking all over himself. That's just what I wanted to be shown on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's do those, or they roll over and spin around and do all that stuff. No, he's all in, man. He wants to do that.
Eyes rolling back in your head. No, thanks. I'll pass. But thank you for your service, and I appreciate all you do. I guess that would be like asking a fighter pilot to get in the batter's box against Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Way out of his element. Probably a little scary.
2-1 to Blackman. Well, the best ballpark for Charlie Blackman would be then Pensacola, Florida, where the Blue Wahoos, the AA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, have a beautiful ballpark right on the water there in Pensacola Bay. And that, of course, is the home of the Blue Angels down at the Naval Air Station there. And they're always over the, wherever you are in Pensacola, you look up and the Blue Angels will be in formation practicing. So maybe he could trade it to the Reds and get sent to AA. You could just stand there and watch the fighter jets. Knocks it back up the middle. They're going to wave LeMahieu. He will score. RBI single for Charlie Blackman, and the Rockies have a 7-2 lead.
A lot of the older Diamondbacks fans will remember when we trained down at Tucson Electric Park and we got to see the Jets flying in formation over the ballpark all day long doing their practice runs. That was always a nice distraction.
Buzz the tower. Josh Rutledge struck out twice. He's 0 for 3. Did you have to give a reason why you didn't want to go up in the jet, or did you just...
Well, I told him I was scared.
I'm sure it's not the first time they'd heard that.
Probably not.
Base hit up the middle. Stop me if you've heard that before. Blackman will stop at second, and Rutledge has his first hit.
They have to call in an airstrike on that first base dugout. Boy, the Rockies have their hitting shoes on tonight. A lot of them right back up the middle of the field.
3 singles in the inning against Yuri De La Rosa. Justin Morneau comes up. Rockies tonight 5 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Adrian Johnson will go break this up. Morneau singled and scored in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Morneau's pursuit of the batting title keeps intensifying as the season winds down. He's hitting over .320 since the All-Star break. But he's had only 3 homers in the second half of the year. Hit 13 before the All-Star game. Swing and a miss, 0-1. And a great chance to win what would be his first career batting title at the age of 33 in his 12th big league season. Right now he is 2 behind Josh Harrison of the Pirates for the batting title. And this was a guy that won an AL MVP award with the Twins in 2006 and finished as the runner-up in the MVP voting 2 years after that. Matt Stites now warming in the Diamondback bullpen. And he hits Morneau to load the bases.
crowd him with every pitch in that at bat. Got a fastball by him inside. First pitch, that one just strays a little too far inside. Clips Morneau on the right thigh.
Little Walter Murphy for you, the fifth of Beethoven, as Michael Kadire steps up with the bases loaded. Kadire doubled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Rockies have a run in here in the 6th. Kadire homered last night.
Kadire looked like he wanted to leave earth on this one. Uncharacteristically big swing for him on a little cutter down and in, right over the top. Boy, you could really see Yuri De La Rosa slow down his delivery there on that changeup away from Kadire. The idea on that changeup is to make it look just like your fastball, but he really slowed his body down as he made his stride toward home plate.
Two and one. Yuri De La Rosa has given up 3 singles and hit a batter. He's got Charlie Blackmon at third, Josh Rutledge at second, and Justin Morneau at first. They're loaded with 1 out for Kadire. Here's the 2-1.
Pitch, he got Kadire to swing over to start the sequence. Then he missed with a couple of changeups. Comes right back with that little baby slider down and in.
Kadire belts it, and that ball is gone. A grand slam. 11-2 Rockies.
It's rare you'll see Michael Kadire go to the plate and the entire at-bat be looking to pull the ball to left field. He's, in my opinion, an opposite field hitter that will pull the ball on occasion, but he looked like he was trying to hit the ball in the air to left field that entire at-bat.
His 9th home run of the season, his 2nd home run in as many games. The 2-2 pitch is out of here for a grand slam and an 11-2 Colorado lead as Corey Dickerson hits a fly ball to left, and that's the 2nd out. So the Rockies, with 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, have scored 5 here in the 6th. Willeen Rosario 3 for 3. 3 singles. He has scored twice, driven in 2. He's already got 7 hits in the series. Tapper to third. Jake Lamb going to let it go foul, and it just does right in front of the bag. That was close.
Yeah, nice play by Jake Lamb right there. Probably wasn't going to have a play on Rosario at first base. He was playing deep. The ball was hit slowly up that third base line, curving toward foul territory. If you don't think you can make a play and easily get the guy at first, you might as well let it roll and hope it goes foul. And indeed it does.
Just in time. No surprise, of course, that with the Rockies jumping out to a 11-2 lead, we get our first look at Dinger, the front-running mascot, who has now parked himself behind home plate. There's Dinger. He always shows up when they have the lead. Other than that, you don't see him. He has other duties, I'm told.
Yeah, I'm sure he's very busy around the ballpark, entertaining the children.
Got a lot on his plate. 1-2. Aline Rosario has already done enough in this series to warrant being named our APS Energy All-Star. How about this? 7 for 8 so far. 5 RBIs and a walk-off homer. He's 3 for 3 tonight. Roll to second. Chris Owings has it. And the 6th inning comes to an end. But the Rockies get 5. They take an 11-2 lead. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Ender Inciarte leads off the 7th. The D-backs and the Cardinals Friday Oktoberfest, brought to you by Ballpark Brand. Celebrate Hispanic Heritage Day, presented by Budweiser on Saturday. And then Sunday, it's Fan Appreciation Day. Don't miss your last chance to see the D-backs in 2014. Visit dbacks.com today, and for more information and to purchase tickets, it's all there for you. dbacks.com. Final 3 home games of the year coming up next weekend. Michael Kadire, his 2nd home run of this series, a grand slam, has made it 11-2 Colorado. And the new pitcher for the Rockies is a former 1st-round pick by the Diamondbacks back in the 2006 draft out of the University of Georgia. This is 29-year-old Brooks Brown.
Fastball slider changeup combination from Brooks Brown. He'll throw his fastball about half the time. Mix in a slider and a changeup the other half of the time. He does have a curveball, but he rarely uses it.
Brooks Brown, 1st-round pick by the D-backs in 06, the 34th player selected overall. He was traded 3 years later to the Tigers for James Skelton. He's kind of bounced around ever since then. He's been with the Pirates and now a member of the Colorado Rockies. Ender Inciarte singled and scored to lead off the ball game. He's 1 for 3. Brooks Brown pitched 2 full seasons at AA Mobile, 07 and 08. In the Diamondbacks system. 2007, 4-4, a 3.66 ERA. 2008 went 6-15 with an ERA over 4. Wound up in the Tiger system. Pitched in Erie and Toledo. Went to the Pirates. He spent all of last season in Pittsburgh's minor league system with Indianapolis. 6-5, a 4.75 ERA. And his first year here with the Colorado Rockies organization. It's over to cover first, and they get Inciarte. 1 down in the 7th. Let's see how Jeff Munn did. Moneyball, of course, on the call tonight on the radio side. The governor, Greg Schulte, has the night off. So Jeff Munn found time in between innings to select an AT&T fan photo drafted by the Brenly Committee on this portion of the road trip. And he went with Carroll.
Nice. Good, solid D-backs fan, sporting the gear, smiling. We must have been ahead in that ball game.
Jeff Munn, good work so far. Thanks to all of you who tweeted in your fan photo brought to us by AT&T.
Yeah, Money's one of those hitters. He's just content to make contact and put the ball in play.
He's not flashy.
He's not swinging for the fences, not stealing bases.
There is a consistency that is nice. You know, the wild swings of Brandon Webb. You don't worry about that with Money.
Nope.
Chris Owings. It's popped up, coming our way back here. Don't hit Dinger. CO singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. The governor is here on the road trip, of course. He did the game yesterday. And got the night off. It's Nancy's birthday, so we want to wish a very happy birthday.
Absolutely.
To Nancy Schulte, wife of Greg Schulte, they're a long time and only radio voice of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So a big night out for them, and nice steak dinner plan tonight for the governor. Showing Nancy the town here in Denver. Owings strikes out, 2 down in the 7th. Brings up A.J. Pollock. A.J. 1 for 3, a single in the first.
Big fastball that time from Brooks Brown. 96 on the outer third of the plate to A.J. Pollock.
It's been a long journey for this guy, but here he is in the big leagues. A.J., this is pretty well hit to left field, but room for Dickerson. Brown works a 1-2-3 inning. They are stretching here at Coors Field. D-backs trail at 11-2. Is brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox. Downtown Denver. Hey, D-backs fans, download the Circle K mobile app today on your mobile device or visit your local Circle K for details. Because with the purchase of a 20-ounce Pepsi, you can win tickets to Super Bowl 49, home in Arizona this February. Bottom 7 at Coors Field. Matt Stites is the new Diamondback pitcher. And it's a whole new battery for Arizona, as we'll see Bobby Wilson make his D-backs debut behind the plate. Part of the September roster expansion. Stites' 34th appearance this year.
Yeah, Bobby Wilson hit .267 for the Aces this year. Had 11 doubles, 3 home runs, drove in 38 in 76 ball games. First appearance in the major league since October 3rd of 2012 as a member of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, California.
Of Orange County.
Yeah, whatever.
Via, who knows? So there's Bobby Wilson. Matt Stites on the mound, and Rafael Ynoa, the hitter. And tell you what, this guy's had a career here tonight. In fact, he's a home run shy of the cycle. He singled in the second, an RBI double in the fourth, a 2-run triple in the fifth, on which he was thrown out, trying to stretch it into an inside the park home run. 95 from Stites, 0-2 on Rafael Ynoa. Ynoa looks confident up there. Last guy to hit for the cycle for the Rockies was Michael Kadire last month against the Reds. That's going to stay in the park. Matt Stites makes the tag, 1 away. DJ LeMahieu drove in a run with a sac fly in the fourth. Singled and scored his last time up. Pitcher spot is due up next. Looks like Matt McBride is in the on-deck circle for the Rockies. As both skippers in an 11-2 ball game will start to empty their benches a bit. A lot of the offseason is going to be spent talking about the 2015 roster, who is going to be part of it and who won't. Where does Matt Stites fit in for you? We've talked about this from time to time.
I think that remains to be seen. I mean, the stuff is obviously there. Big arm, big fastball. His off-speed stuff has been very inconsistent for him. But for a ball club that's looking for big arms at the tail end of the bullpen, Stites, in that respect, would figure to be in the mix next year. I think a lot of it depends on how his offseason goes, how he performs in spring training next year, and, of course, the health of the rest of the pitchers that make up the bullpen.
He's got a great opportunity here, that's for sure. Acquired at the trade deadline last year from the Padres in a deal for Ian Kennedy. Came over here with Joe Thatcher. Matt McBride will hit for the pitcher. Just 24 at-bats in the big leagues this year. He's hit 2 homers. One of them was off at El Nino earlier this year. From Bethlehem, PA, played at Lehigh. You see a lot of Lehigh guys in the big leagues. Second round pick by the Indians back in '06. Came over here in the Ubaldo Jimenez deal, which seemed so long ago. That was 3 years ago. Remember that day, Ubaldo was pitching for the Rockies, and it was the deadline, and there were all kinds of rumors they were about to deal him, but no trade was made. So we went out there, started the game as scheduled, and they had someone in the bullpen warming up in the first inning in case the trade was finalized at some point, and sure enough it was. And Ubaldo was out of there. A.J. Pollock, long run, and he tracks it down, and that's the inning. A 1-2-3 7th for Matt Stites. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. We'll see Jake Lamb in the Arizona 8th. So far, he's 2 for 3. Fox and Fox Sports 1 tomorrow as the MLB is back on Fox. Yasiel Puig and the Dodgers take on the Cubs. That's on Fox. Then on Fox Sports 1, it's the Cardinals and the Reds. It all starts 9:30 on Fox. Continues 4 on Fox Sports 1 and streams live on Fox Sports Go. That's out there in left field. There it is, Todd Helton. The Helton Burger Shack out there.
I think, pay your respects to Todd Helton. You ought to have a double burger.
Because he hit a lot of doubles?
Oh, yes, he did.
You won't have to twist my arm.
Yeah. Apparently, Todd Helton is in Africa on safari right now. The word that we heard from George Frazier, the analyst for the Rockies TV side, he was charged by 2 black rhinos and was with a number of guides. And apparently, Todd told George Frazier he turned around and the guides were already up in the tops of the trees.
Yep.
And Todd was left to his own devices to try to get away from the 2 black rhinos. So I'm waiting to hear how that story ended.
Rex Brothers is out there on the edge of my seat. Bobby Wilson, his first D-backs at bat this year.
Well, Todd Helton did a lot of things well, but running wasn't one of them.
That's a tough spot. Bobby Wilson gets a hold of one, but lines it right to Dickerson in left, 1 away. Brings up Mark Trumbo.
Reminds me of the old joke about the 2 guys that were hunting in the woods and a black bear started to chase them. They're running away. One guy turned to the other guy and says, "Do you think we can outrun this bear?" The other guy says, "I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you."
Sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes the bar eats you.
That's right.
Trumbo for 3. Pretty good crowd here tonight at Coors Field. A little thin last night, but it's a Friday night here. Beautiful day in Denver, and it is Fan Fireworks Appreciation Day. We haven't seen enough fireworks already. They're going to have a big show as part of their Fan Fireworks Appreciation Night here at Coors.
Fireworks and bobbleheads always seem to bring out a few extra fans to every ballpark we travel to.
2 fail-safes. Hey fans, the most popular way to follow the September pennant races is with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. You'll enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcast, the MLB.TV game of the day, and more. So download At Bat for the old smartphone. You can put it on your tablet as well. You'll find it at the App Store or visit MLB.com. Just had to buy the wife a new iPad.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm really excited. Well, we bought a case. And then this is the way things always go with this. There's a bouncer in the hole and into left. Trumbo's got a base hit. You know, you buy the case, and then you find out, well, they just came out with a new iPad, and the new case doesn't fit. Oh. So now you got to get the new iPad because you got the case. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
You know, they come out with a new one every 10 minutes.
New adapter plugs every time they come out with a new model. What a racket.
Jake Lamb. Jake's 2 for 3, couple of singles. He scored a run. Back from that quad injury, getting the start tonight. I'm surprised. Well, you know about all this stuff. You're over there with an iPad and a laptop and phone going, the whole thing. Very technologically savvy over there. That's how you keep us updated on all the minor league stuff, all the pennant races, scores.
Musical acts in town?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Lotus is playing at Red Rocks tonight. They're described as an instrumental electronic jam band.
If you say so. What does that mean?
I'm not quite sure. But there is a lot of music in town. I'm telling you, they've got the Riot Fest going on over at the football stadium. Had some big names over there. Weezer, the Flaming Lips, Slayer playing over there tonight. There's about 30 bands every day.
Do I see Social D there tomorrow?
Social Distortion tomorrow with The Cure and the Descendants.
Oh, Social Distortion. Mike Ness.
Yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one. Now, like I said, there's probably 25 or 30 bands playing every day. Sunday, The National, Rise Against, Sublime, the Wu-Tang Clan. I know they're one of your favorites.
Bob Mould.
Dropkick Murphys.
Oh, yeah, from Boston.
Yeah.
Dropkick Murphys and Bob Mould, who used to play in the band Sugar.
So that's going on over at the football stadium. We got Lotus playing out at Red Rocks, and Jimmy Garrett, who's on the trip with the Diamondbacks this time, one of Roger Riley's fine clubhouse assistants. Jimmy loves music, and I was telling him, you know, all the stuff that's going on in town. He says, yeah, I'm going to a show. I said, where are you going? You going out to Red Rocks? Catch Grace Potter and the Nocturnals? No. You going over to the Riot Fest? No. Well, what are you going to see? Jimmy shocked me by saying he's going to see Gordon Lightfoot.
Reckon the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Absolutely. I love Gordon Lightfoot. I didn't know he was still alive.
The big lake they call Gitchagumi.
There you go.
The captain wired in. He had water coming in. The good ship and crew were in peril. 2-2 to Jake Lamb.
Carefree Highway, a little Arizona twist there to Gordon Lightfoot.
What time's Social D going tomorrow?
Let's see if we can
stroll over there and check that out.
Well, they're second to last on the list, so they got to be playing, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock maybe.
Might be able to swing that.
Because tonight Weezer goes on at 10:45.
Making Believe, Bad Luck, Ball and Chain, Social Distortion. Alfredo Marte. Going to hit for Cody Ross here. With Trumbo at first and 2 down in the 8th. Marte 0 for his last 19 with 7 strikeouts. 171 on the year, 2 homers. Since his latest recall from the minors, Alfredo has played 27 games for the D-backs. 19 of them starts, and he's hit just under 135. Gordon Lightfoot.
If you could read my mind.
What a tale thoughts could tell.
You still see Gordon Lightfoot on those infomercials at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, those old K-Tel record deals.
Yeah.
Call now. They probably actually do send you a record, vinyl.
Mellow rock.
Alfredo Marte swing. Mellow gold. That was it, right? Mellow gold?
I don't know.
You have that. Who are you kidding? You have that. You know you do.
I have it on 8-track, cassette, CD, and vinyl.
$9.95. Call now.
But wait.
Now how much would you pay?
Wouldn't you love to see Alfredo Marte take one of those big wild swings and catch one right on the button in this ballpark? Man, well, that'd be something to watch.
He strikes out. They strand Trumbo. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. CenturyLink, your link to watch next. We'll see Justin Morneau bidding for the National League batting title coming up. October history will be made as baseball's postseason moves to America's new sports network. Fox Sports 1 is your new home for baseball's National League Division and Championship Series, and it all begins this October. Bottom of the 8th at Coors Field. D-backs trail the Rockies 11-2. Some changes for Arizona. The new pitcher out there is the left-hander Joe Patterson. Alfredo Marte, who hit for Cody Ross in the top of the inning, will stay in the game. He'll take over in right. There's ball one. Brett Jackson is in center field. Takes over for A.J. Pollock out there. And Nick Ahmed replaces Chris Owings at second base. 1-1 now to Charlie Blackmon right by EY Sr. down there. So it's Marte in right, Jackson in center, and Ahmed at second. So Blackmon will take his base, leadoff man aboard. I'm not sure that touched him.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Joe Patterson threw a drop-down breaking ball there. It appeared it just never took the break. I don't know.
Come on, really?
Oh, shirt.
A thread.
barely got shirt, not even enough to put a wrinkle in the uniform.
Wow. Well, it hit something. Josh Rutledge singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 4. He's supposed to be hitting in this spot. And instead, we'll get a look at Christian Adames. And he belts it into center for a base hit. Blackman in at second. And now the Rockies will continue to empty their bench. Looks like that's his first big league hit. Brandon Barnes is going to hit for Morneau.
Congratulations. Don't do it again.
Well, you can only get your first one once, I guess, right?
That's right.
So Barnes hitting for Morneau. 2 on, no outs. Barnes 1 for 4 last night. Had an RBI double and scored a run. 253 on the year. Reno. Well, Joe Patterson has come on in the bottom of the 8th inning of an 11-2 game. He has hit a batter, given up a base hit, and issued a walk. And the Rockies, with a 9-run lead, have the bases loaded and no outs for Michael Kadire. And the last time Kadire was up was in the 6th inning, and the bases were loaded then, and he unloaded for a grand slam. He doubled and scored in the 5th. The grand slam his last time up, 2 for 4. This was Kadire in the 6th against Yuri De La Rosa. Two 2-0. Mike Harkey going to get out there quickly. 11 pitches so far for Joe Patterson. 8 of them balls. Kadire won the National League batting title last year, hit for the cycle this year. Bounces that one foul. Kadire became just the 4th player in Major League history to hit for the cycle in both leagues. Of course, the longtime Minnesota Twin. John Riley, Bob Watson, and John Olerud are the other 3 to cycle in each league. He hit for the cycle with Minnesota back in May of '09 and did it here with the Rockies last month. Bases loaded, nobody out, the 2-1. Misses, and it's 3 balls and a strike. And Kadire's got a base hit. Blackman will score, Adames will score, and all 3 runs are going to come in. They wave Barnes, and it's a 3-run double for Michael Kadire. He has 7 RBIs.
Boy, is he locked in. Head right down on the ball. Bat is extremely quick through the hitting zone. Man.
Michael Kadire, 3 hits last night. He was a triple shy of the cycle. He hit a homer. He scored 3 runs. Tonight he's got 2 doubles and a homer. He has scored twice. He's driven in 7. Here's Corey Dickerson. Seven RBIs, a career high. And Joe Patterson still trying to record his first out in this 8th inning. He has hit a batter, given up a single, a walk, and a 3-run double. Diamondback bullpen is quiet. Three and one. $18 pitches for Joe, only 6 for strikes. Down the first base line, a nice hop for Trumbo. And that's the first out recorded by Joe Patterson. Kadire in at third. These guys, Bob, put up a 16 spot on the Dodgers earlier this week. They're looking like the old Blake Street Bombers.
Yeah, not hitting as many home runs as those 4 guys did in their career here in Colorado, but getting guys on the plate is the name of the game, and this version of the Blake Street Bombers has done a heck of a job here tonight.
Now Charlie Culberson with Kadire at third, and 1 out will hit for Willeen Rosario. Saw Culberson get the start at third base last night. He had a couple of hits, 2 singles, an RBI. He scored a run. And he's down quickly, 0-2. In the air, left center field. Inciarte and Jackson over there. It's Brett Jackson. Kadire at third will tag, and he will score. And it's 15-2 Colorado. Rockies have had 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 5 in the 6th, and it's a 4-run 8th. Rafael Linoa, a home run shy of the cycle, and he belts that one down the left field line, but foul. Ynoa single in the second, RBI double in the fourth, a 2-run triple in the fifth. Thrown out at home, trying to stretch it into an inside the park home run. He's got himself another base hit. He dunks it into right center field. And it gets by Jackson out there, and Ynoa will stop at second. A 4-hit night for the 27-year-old rookie.
Ynoa really diving in there, waited back well on that off-speed pitch, smacked it into the gap. Brett Jackson got caught in between hops right there, tried to just pick it clean off the grass. It got underneath the glove all the way to the wall. I assume that'll be a double.
His second double tonight to go along with his triple and single. DJ LeMahieu lifts that in the air to right center field. Jackson is underneath it. And that's the end of the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll head to the 9th. D-backs trail it 15-2. Diamondbacks had a 1-0 lead at one point, but the Rockies have opened things up, led by Michael Kadire, a career high 7 RBIs, including a grand slam. Chaz Roberts' air conditioning cool plays of the game. A 2-hit night for Cody Ross, including an RBI double.
Continues to swing a hot bat here as we approach the end of the season. Starting to sting the ball a little more, drive it into the gaps. Good offensive night for Cody.
We got a whole bunch of defensive changes from Walt Weiss behind the new pitcher. This is Christian Friedrich. Didi Gregorius will lead off the 9th. Jackson Williams has taken over behind the plate, so a whole new battery for the Rockies. He replaces Rosario. Didi 1 for 3, a single in the second. Hard to first by Paulson at first base and down the right field line. We'll see how fast Didi can run here. Kadire plays it off to Karam, and Gregorius is going to get in at third with his 5th triple. That's Barnes out there in right, one of the many changes the Rockies have made here. They got by Paulson at first, and Didi is standing at third with nobody out.
Boy, that's Didi's happy zone. That ball down and in where he doesn't really have to do too much. Just drop the barrel of the bat onto the ball and scalded that one down into the right field corner. Legs out a leadoff triple.
And Pacheco will hit for the pitcher. The former Rocky. In his last 7 at-bats, Jordan has 5 hits and 5 RBIs. And a big night here last night. Got to start at first base. Couple of singles. Scored a run, drove in 2. Should have actually had 3 hits, but was robbed on a liner right to second by DJ LeMahieu. He's down 0-2. Nolan Reimold on deck. He would hit for Inciarte. Pacheco chases that one in the dirt. Jackson completes the strikeout. Williams completes the strikeout. 2 down now. And we'll get a look at Nolan Reimold.
Christian Friedrich on the mound for the Rockies. Little known trivia fact, his father, Dr. William Friedrich, is a dentist in Chicago, was our family dentist in the 8 years I was working in Chicago.
I would say that is a little known.
Little known.
That's funny, though. What are the odds?
Yeah, go figure.
Would you recommend Dr. Friedrich?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good magazines.
Northwestern Dental Center.
Can't go wrong.
Right downtown.
Strike 1 to Reimold. 5 for 17 with the D-backs so far. A homer and 3 RBIs. In the air, center field, and this will do it. Keedy coming in to score, and it's 15-3. RBI for Reimold. Deep enough to get the run home. Two down, and Nick Ahmed will hit. We go for at second base for Chris Owens.
I don't know about you, partner, but my scorecard looks like a disaster area. A lot of substitutions. I put them where I thought they were going to be, and they're not.
Got a little cocky, did you? Ahmed drives that to center. Blackman has it, and the Rockies win the ball game 15-3.
Ooh, just wash this one off.
A career high 7 RBIs for Michael Kadire. His second home run in this series was a grand slam. Kadire's big night leads the way for Colorado. Willeen Rosario as well. He had 3 hits. And the Rockies take it 15-3. They have won the first 2 games of this 4-game series. Reaction from Coors Field. Diamondback Live postgame show follows this break. D-backs lose this one 15-3. Back with a reaction from Coors after this.